Welcome to all of you for this new class, both the continuing students or any new people that might have joined in this new class. So the prayer for this class we will modify a little bit. So we will do Sahana Vavatu, then Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam. Then followed by that, we will chant the first verse of the Dakshinamurti Stotram. And then we will do the chanting of the Shiva Sankalpa Stotam. So that's how we will do. I will do that later on. So let's just start with the initial prayers. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahirivot Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanam Ebadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. So Dakshina Murti is of course Shiva. Shiva in the teaching role, just like you can have a mother, but when she does the homeschooling, she is more than a mother, she is also a teacher. So this is how Dakshina Murti is in terms of, it's Shiva, but in a teaching posture. And I'm taking the cue from Swami Akhandanandaji, who has written this book that we are going to follow. And so he chanted the first verse of the Dakshinamurti Stotram, so I thought I would follow him and do the same thing. So very good. Happy to have you all join this first class. So the importance of this hymn, Shiva Sankalpa Sukta, is a hymn. Hymn meaning a chant in the form of a prayer is called a hymn. So in the Western way of looking at things, yeah, that's good. That's a very good word, hymn. So hymn means it's not a hum anything. It's a very particular form of chanting which is addressed to Ishvara. So that's called the hymn. So this particular sukta is the Sanskrit word for a prayer, prayerful hymn, is revealed in its importance by its presence in several Upanishads. So it appears in slightly different forms. So for example, in the Krishna Yajurveda, it appears as 37 verses. I mean, I didn't know this myself before until I started researching this in the last few months when I was planning to hold this class. So the Shukla Yajurveda has 37 verses. The Krishna Yajurveda has 37 verses. The Shukla Yajurveda, which is chanted more on the north than in the southern part of India, has 6 verses. And the Rig Veda also has 6 verses, I think. I have not seen it. I think it is a 6th verse. So the 6th verse version happens to be more popular, more prevalent in, you will see many people, probably but because of its size and its conciseness. It is talked about by a number of Mahatmas. If you go to the internet, you will find so many meanings, commentaries on it, and so on. In fact, our own Swami Pratyekbodhananda ji, I found out just recently, had given 6 talks, or maybe, I don't know, 6, but some talks on Shiva Sankalpa Sukta. Swami Tejobayananda of Chinmaya Mission also has, I found out, his talks on this. There are many other Swamis as well. But when I was looking through the number of different books by Swami Akhandananda ji last year, this just appealed to me. And I started reading it, and the more I read it, it struck me as particularly beautiful and particularly useful and beneficial in the way of looking at some things. Okay, so that's number one. The other beauty about the Shiva Sankalpa Sukta is that it is a Vedic mantra with swaras. So Vedic mantras with swaras have a very special, as you know, it's an oral tradition, and that's why most of the work is in a verse form rather than a prose form, because it makes memorization easier. There's a certain tone to it. And here there's only 6 verses. So I think that's the other beauty of it, is that it is in fact recitable. And we will do that. I have not given you the prose for this yet. Raj Paripatyadar was kind enough to put the text of this talk, which I will now talk about it in a very introduction to the text, not the text itself, but the introduction to the text onto our AVC webpage. And the 2 files that were loaded on it, you can get from go to the AVC webpage. And I will, Chandra, you're right. You're asking to provide a link. I didn't get a time to do that. Maybe I will ask you or Chandra, you or Raj to do it, or I'll figure it out. I've forgotten all these technology things and how to link it to WhatsApp. But yeah, we will do so. So anyway, today we are not going to start on explaining the verses itself. That's why I'm not really not anxious to give you anything right away. We will do that next week. Today is more of an introductory text, just the introduction to the text. So so the 2 files that we have uploaded to the AVC webpage, one of them has the Devanagari script followed by an English sentence meaning. So that's one file. The other file contains just the Devanagari verses, but with swara marks on them, but no meanings. And if you go to the internet, and on the internet, there is one that I found, a link that I found, which I will mention in the, I think I've already mentioned that in the write-up on the AVC webpage. It's called Mahadev Foundation. Okay, so it's just too long. I don't really repeat it. It's called Mahadeva Foundation, a garland of prayers, then Shiva Sankalpa Sukta. So if you look to the internet and go to the Mahadeo is spelled Mahadeo .foundation /a, I might as well just give you a, then dash garland dash of dash prayers /Shiva Shiva dot Sankalpam, I think it says Sankalpam dash Sukta. Anyway, you can look at it yourself. The reason I'm mentioning that is because it has a very nice word for word translation of each of the verses, which I could not find anyplace else. So I think that would be terrific if you can do that. The meanings and the commentary on it I would ignore. I wouldn't really do. I mean, it's okay, but there's not the same kind of revelation of the truth. So that I would. But if you want, you can just go to this. I didn't know how to copy and paste. I think it didn't allow me to do it, but you can figure that out yourself. Okay, so there are plenty of references to this available in different languages. If you want to do it in your own vernacular language, you can probably find it somewhere. So when I read this book by Swami Akhandananda ji, I found that the set of mantras is very much like what we did with Dakshinamurti Stotram, the 10 mantras of Dakshinamurti Stotram. So I thought we would take it up in the short series of classes on Tuesday night. And as you know, the Tuesday nights is characteristic of shorter sessions. I think that once we begin the Mandukya Karika on Saturday, which is a major course, much bigger than this. This has, just to give you an idea, this book, Shiva Sankalpa Sukta, in Hindi, by Swami Akhandananda ji, is in roughly 108 pages. This is 108 pages. Compared to this, the 4 volumes that we are going to get into for the Mandukya Karika has roughly 1400 to 1500 pages. 4 volumes. Each volume is about 350, 375, something like that. And much bigger. Having said that, I think I would say that both of these texts are complete in themselves. Just the fact that this is 1/14th the size of the other one doesn't mean that it is incomplete. What it means is it is more concise. The same thoughts are unfolded in both in much more vivid details on the Mandukya, and in this one it has to be folded. The encrypted forms have to be unfolded very quickly. But it is complete. And so in some ways, it's kind of like an introduction to a bigger course. And I thought we would undertake that as a different text for a different day of the week. However, having said that, I think I already mentioned that to you. If there is a possibility that you are okay with it, we might have both, after we finish this text, which might take about a dozen classes or so, I don't know. Then we might switch both the days to the Mandukya Karika. Because the Mandukya Karika is a huge undertaking. Huge undertaking. In the way I'm going to take it, not the ones that we did before. That also took a long time. But this one is going to be I'm just going to follow the thought process of Swami Akhandanandaji primarily, occasionally referencing Swami Dayanandaji's recent book, which I haven't read because it just came out, but I will reference it from time to time to make sure that I'm not missing anything. But I really want to focus on this enormous book by Swami Akhandanandaji that just changed my life last year. And I want to just share all those insights with you. So this one is actually a concise version of that. The thought process remains the same. It's just that it is more concise. And also it is a mantra which can be chanted. So from that standpoint, what we will do is to actually learn to chant it. Okay? So I was looking over the internet, and I couldn't find a chant that was very, very nice to hear. There were there was the normal chanting by a number of priests, and it has multiple voices, and it's rajasic. It's very, very active, and it's nice to do. But I think that this sukta requires a sattvic chanting, very quiet and meditative. And I found one chant which I will play for you in just a few more minutes. And I myself have not yet mastered the chanting. I haven't spent enough time on it, but I want to. And I want to both chant it effortlessly and to memorize it so that I also become immersed in the beauty of it. So right now I'm also learning along with you and based on this book that Swamiji has written. Okay? So the next thing I will do, we will probably not take a full hour today. This is just introductory. And I will open up for so many questions and so on shortly. But let's do this. I would, well, first of all, I made a copy of a photograph of Swami Akhandananda that you may not have. This is actually, I copied from this book. And so let me show that to you. You may have seen it before, I don't know. And I think what I will do from next week on, I will post it on the picture behind, so that we keep his form and his voice in mind as we go through this. Okay. The next thing I will do is to translate for you the introduction to the book written by a person who was composing all this from his talks. His name is Vidya Nivas Mishra in Vrindavan, and it is in Hindi, and so it's in very small print of one page, and a succinct version of that is also in the back page. So what I will do is to introduce this Swamiji's style and his work and his importance in the words of Sri Mishra. Okay. All right, so let's look at translation of his comments. So he starts by saying that these 6 mantras helps to keep the mind focused on Ishvara rather than unnecessary wandering around. There is some necessary wandering around, like you go to Safeway to buy things for your dinner, necessary. But given some time when we have nothing else to do that is necessary, our mind wanders around in sports, in politics, in family issues, friends keeping up, etc., etc. You know the drill. And it turns out that wandering is not really helpful for our progress. I wouldn't even say spiritual progress. I think that even that word feeling spiritual progress is unnecessary. Really just progress. There's something that we all need to move towards, and we don't because we are wandering around. It's like a child that gets lost in, I just took my, we went on a short vacation last week. That's why I didn't have the Tuesday class, and then we all were away to a family vacation, and we had our young ones and so on. And one day my son decided to take the 2.5-year-old to a toy store. And it was just fun watching this young girl going crazy and really confused. The toy store it's got so many variety of things, so many toys, so many possibilities, so many colors, shapes of things, that she was just wandering around and not able to make up her mind as to it. We didn't expect her to make up her mind. We wanted to help her what toy to buy. And it was difficult for us to do it. So it was so much, we came out of it without buying anything. And this little girl was very upset, even though she's so young. She could not fathom how could we spend half hour on the shop and not buy anything. So there's no progress per se. So we kept telling her, come on, we have to go. She finally threw a temper tantrum which said, I don't care what I get, I need to get something. Anyway, we found a rubber ball with some lights in it and so on. She was happy with it. So in a way, our life is like wandering around in a big toy store. And it's okay to pause from time to time to just entertain ourselves. But really speaking, we need to direct, because, we are all going somewhere. Like in the case of our granddaughter also, this was a stop. We had to go to a restaurant to eat. So there was a purpose for our trip. And this happened to come along on the way and distracted her. But we have to go somewhere. Similarly, all of us have to go somewhere. Where do we have to go is really what we need to find out. And how do we get there? We need to find out. So Shiva Sankalpa Sukta is, I kind of know where I have to go. And if I don't know, we will revisit it. So the goal has to be very clear. But then, to avoid getting distracted and to pull my mind towards going where I want to go is the real purpose of the Shiva Sankalpa Sukta. So, The Hindi here is very beautiful. He says, I will read that in Hindi and then translate it. Beautiful. He says, in Hindi, Shiva Sankalp Lena. Sankalp means to resolve. Oh, this is a very beautiful thing. What do you mean by resolve? Who resolves to who? All of this will come in the details. But the Shiva Sankalp ko lena, to do the sankalpa for it, मन को नियंत्रित करता है. Niyantrit means that it disciplines the mind, just like you discipline wild horses in the Gita. Niyantra means to propose a path and to follow it. शिव संकल्प लेना मन को नियंत्रित करता है, इधर उधर भागने से रोकता है. It stops it from going here and there. परमार्थ की ओर इसे मोड़ना है और मोड़ते ही रहना है. This is a beautiful thing. He says that we have to turn towards Shiva and to keep turning towards Shiva. You know, you go towards it for, this is exactly what happens. You go towards Shiva for a while, but then you get distracted. You know, and just recently in the last, in these, I'm very happy to really write an email and ask you to register, because I've gotten a lot of personal emails from people. And I'm very happy about it. Really, I miss keeping in touch with you. And I don't want to miss doing that. From now on, this is why I want you to register. However people there are, smaller number of people, doesn't matter. But I want to keep in touch with you. And to write, and so some people have written recently, I won't name the name. And this is very typical, very typical. So this student wrote to me saying, I want to join your course. I am helped by your classes, but, here comes the but. It's very typical, very typical. I went through the same thing. I am helped by your classes, but I don't know how to find the balance between studying Vedanta and taking care of all the myriad issues in my life. Very typical, very common, very justifiable. So here's what happens. Somehow when you start studying Vedanta or something very, very beautiful that reveals your nature and so on, you want to keep doing it. But then you have a life which appears to have nothing to do with it. It's a burden sometimes, it's a fight sometimes, it's unpleasant sometimes, you know, all the things. Somehow you feel that a balancing must be done between them. This is not the right approach. Initially you feel that way. I agree with that. And I used to do it as well. This is not the right approach. Then what is the right approach? So it is not as though you have kind of like something on a scale. The one is heavier than the other and you want to balance them. It's not like that. What it is, and this is exactly what this gentleman who was introducing Swamiji was saying, so very, very beautifully. He says the idea is, you know, and I'll just put some words in his mind, there is nothing spiritual and nothing secular. I mean, he didn't say that, but I'm just Everything is spiritual. Even fights and uncomfortableness and problems, or it is also spiritual. It is just that you have compartmentalized it and said that part is not good, this part is very good, I want to go to the good, I can't do it all the time. It's not going to work. It's not the way to do that. You will see as we progress, this is what progress really means. You talk about where are we going. What the progress really means is that you see Shiva participating in all aspects of your life. All aspects. Whether you are acting, you are doing prayers, you are going to the temple, these are different aspects of it. This will all come. In the very first verse it will come. And so the moving towards Shiva means to recognize its presence in the entire aspects of your life. There is nothing good, nothing bad. It just is, all of that needs to be viewed from a different standpoint. So this compartmentalization is not necessary and not helpful. What is helpful is to see the whole thing to be a play. One which is peaceful at times, one which is not peaceful at times. And to be peaceful even when you don't feel peaceful is really what we need to do. This we have to figure out. So anyway, this is what he was saying, that most importantly, not only direct it towards Shiva, but keep directing it towards Shiva. Beautiful words. And he will say this because exactly this is what's going to happen here. It's going to happen in much more detail in the Mandukya Karika. You have to recognize the different states that you are in, the various positions that you find yourself in, and to remember and to recognize the presence of the Paramatma in all of them. That is really our goal. And this sutta helps us to achieve that goal. Surely enough, this is sadhana. This is sadhana. Sadhana means that once you know where you are, once you've reached it, the goal, you don't need any help. You don't need any prayers, you don't need anything, you're done. But if you don't know where you are going, then also all these things are not helpful. But if you know where you are going, but you're not there yet, then this sadhana becomes extremely useful, as we will see. He makes a point about Swami Akhandananda, which I completely agree with. So you see, if his this book and most of the other books that I have studied, I mean, I haven't really done a lot of research in Swamiji. I'm so moved by his work that I don't even go beyond it. I'm somewhat curious. I know exactly when he was born, when he gave up his body. All of that I know a little bit, but in terms of details, I haven't had time and I don't know if I will. I'm not that curious about that. I should be, perhaps, but time will tell. But one thing I found about him is that his talks, his books that he has written, are given to a general audience that already has a predisposition towards inquiry into Ishvara. So he's not proselytizing. He's not going to people that, saying, hey, please gather together. I want to tell you something about Sanatana Dharma and you don't know anything and you give up your glasses of wine and sit down. No. That's not what he wants to do. People they've heard about him, they're attracted to him, they've studied some things, but they're not quite clear about the whole thing. Those are the people that he's addressing. So he's addressing the general public, that general person who is sattvic in nature already, who has done some inquiry. Now, having said that, this is the important thing. This is what characterizes his style, his beauty, the wonderful Swami Akhandananda's. Once he finds out about these people, once he talks to these people, he doesn't talk from the textbook. He doesn't say, this is what Bhagavad Gita says, this is what it is, okay, this is the meaning, let's go to the next one. It's not what his approach is. His approach is that even though the people who are listening are sattvic, even though they are interested, even though they are inquiring minds, they do not bring Shastra into their own lives effortlessly. For some reason. The book is kept as a book. I have studied it. Now I know it. I can chant it, etc. Okay, this is done. Okay, what's the next book? Let's go to the next book. They do not really translate what the Shastra is saying to you and I personally. It doesn't become a reality. He specializes in connecting the depth of the Shastra to the everyday living of the human person. Is what this person is introducing, even I completely agree with it. This is what attracts me to it. He also says that so this is, he points out as the meaning of the mantras. Actually, I won't talk about that until we, I think maybe even next week when Swami Akhandananda himself starts to talk about the importance of the word mantra. I think you know that already, but we will revise it. This is a very special mantra. Is a very, very special set of words. It's not an ordinary word, and so we will see that from the mouth of Swamiji himself. But for now, what he said is that the purpose of his commentary, and the Sanskrit word for commentary is called Vyakhya. Visheshena Akhya iti Vi plus Akhya Vyakhya. And so there's a difference. The word Bhashya is really reserved for Adi Shankara's Vyakhyas. There's Bhashya, not any, you cannot say Bhashya of this or Bhashya of that. It is Vyakhya. Vyakhya means an exposition, a talk, an explanation, but given by a Mahapurusha like Swami Akhandananda, but not Adi Shankara. That word Bhashya is only reserved for Adi Shankara. Anyway, so he says the purpose of the Vyakhya is to do Swadhyaya. And I know many of you belong to Swadhyaya group, and I think you probably know the meaning of it already. But just to be sure, and those of you that are not part of those groups, see the meaning of Vyakhya, meaning of commentary, the unfolding of the meaning of the mantras. The Vyakhya, the purpose of that is to do Swadhyaya. The meaning of the word Swadhyaya means Swasya Adhyaya. Swasya Adhyaya, it is Swadhyaya. It means an enquiry, study, which includes Swa. Swa means yourself. And this is one to say, what do you mean by includes I? It of course includes the Swa. No, it doesn't. Not the Swa that you should really know as you should know. You know, I mean, the very familiar kind of a thing. If you are acting in a movie or a play, let's say a play, you're acting in a play, then you are acting, you are participating, you are talking, you are remembering the words, you are assuming a form. So that is not Swadhyaya. But suppose while you are acting, you remember who you are and how well you are doing. You're doing this, playing this part well. If you remember the reality of yourself while you're acting, then it is called Swadhyaya. Anyway, we'll go more about that. I'm running out of time. I think I better go on. Anyway, so what Swamiji will do in this book is, it's a very systematic book. Even before we do the first verse, he's going to give you an introduction to the krama. Krama means the sequence. He'll compare it to the Dvaita, Advaita, all of that will come. Very short, not long. So it'll be very beautiful. We can cover that very quickly. And then he will come to the meaning of the word mantra and how the mantra should be part of your daily life. This is what he will talk about. Then he will start unfolding the meaning of the 6 verses, and that's how we will do it. All right, so the only thing I think left here, which I'd like to do, is to play this chant, which is very beautiful. And I don't know if, let me do this. I'm going to play the video from YouTube. Let's see. I think from the phone is okay. Let me know in your comments whether the sound was not adequate. But then you can go to the net and go directly to her. So what I'm thinking of doing is we will just listen to this chant by this lady, whose name I don't remember, but I think you will recognize her. She's a well-known chanter of Sanskrit. We would listen to her. It's about 6 minutes. So she chants the 6 verses twice. Once slowly and the second time more faster. So I think from next time on, either we will do both or just once and slowly get to learn how to chant. And I will do that with you because I'm also not very good at it at the moment. I want to be good at it. And then we'll begin each class with the chant, and then we will start the meaning. So that's the way we are going to progress. All right, so let me see if I can fire this on. You may not be able to see her very well because it's a very small one.
यज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदैति दैवं तदु सुप्तस्य तथैवैति दूरङ्गमं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिरेकम् तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येन कर्माण्यपसो मनीषिणो यज्ञे कृण्वन्ति विदधेषु धीराः यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यत्प्रज्ञानमुत चेतो धृतिश्च यज्ज्योतिरन्तरमृतं प्रजासु यस्मान्नऋते किञ्चन कर्म क्रियते तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येनेदं भूतं भुवनं भविष्यत् परिगृहीतममृतेन सर्वम् येन यज्ञस्तायते सप्तहोता तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यस्मिन् ऋचः सामयजूगुंषि यस्मिन् प्रतिष्ठिता रथनाभाविवाराः यस्मिन् कश्चित्तगुं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु सुषारथिरश्वानि वयन्मनुष्यान्नेनीयते भीषुभिर्वाजिन इव हृत्प्रतिष्ठं यदजिरञ्जविष्ठं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु
Now we repeat.
यज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदैति दैवं तदु सुप्तस्य तथैवैति दूरङ्गमं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिरेकं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येन कर्माण्यपसो मनीषिणो यज्ञे कृण्वन्ति विदधेषु धीराः यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यत्प्रज्ञानमुत चेतो धृतिश्च यज्ज्योतिरन्तरमृतं प्रजासु यस्मान्नऋते किञ्चन कर्म क्रियते तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येनेदं भूतं भुवनं भविष्यत् परिगृहीतममृतेन सर्वम् येन यज्ञस्तायते सप्तहोता तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यस्मिन् ऋचः सामयजूगुंषि यस्मिन् प्रतिष्ठिता रथनाभाविवाराः यस्मिन् कश्चित्तगुं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु सुषारथिरश्वानि वयन्मनुष्यान्नेनीयते भीषुभिर्वाजिन इव हृत्प्रतिष्ठं यदजिरञ्जविष्ठं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु
So I don't know if you could hear that very well. This needs to be proofed a little bit. There's a couple of what I found were errors. Instead of prajnanam, she said prajanam. So I will research all of that. And sorry. So I was saying that there were some discrepancies that I saw from what this text said and what she pronounced. So I will reconcile that, and then and eventually I think we should just learn how to chant it ourselves. But in the meantime, it is beautiful what she has done. So so that's what we will do. We will begin each class with a chanting it, which will just take about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we will go into the meanings of the verses. Okay, so with that, I close the class today and then leave some more time for any questions that you may have. And we will then see you in the start of this start of this set of classes next week. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Tanme mana Shiva Sankalpamastu. Tanme mana Shiva Sankalpamastu. I guess I had a question for you to see whether the sound was okay. Were you able to hear it clearly? And then what I would say is that you can just go to the internet and download it yourself. I think I did that about a couple of months ago, but I couldn't find it, so I had to play from here. But tell me if the sound is okay, and then we would learn to chant it, because that's really one of the main benefits of having a sukta, that is, and a sukta which is Vedic sukta, which swaras on it. So, and I think that in some of the swaras that I saw on the internet, it didn't match the swaras of this lady. So I've got some work to do. I haven't had time to do so. I've been busy with both the classes. But I think that in the next week or two, we would reconcile the swaras and the words and then learn to kind of chant it. And hopefully by the end of the 10 or 12 week classes, we would really become very familiar and good without it. So I hope you're okay with it and you like all this. So okay, good. Sound was clear. Excellent. Very good. So what I would say is that in addition to this, we are going to order, I'm sure we're going to order quite a few books from India for depending on, I think about 20 of them, 20 of you already have the Hindi books from Swami Akhandanandaji, but there might be some more Hindi speaking that would like to get it. So we'll probably end up getting some additional copies of the Mandukya Karika. And then if you're interested in the Shiva Sankalpa Sukta, I think about 5 of you already have it. I think I have 1 copy, maybe 4 of you already have it. I'm not sure. But then if those of you that want to read the Hindi, we can order it along with the Mandukya book from India, which will take a while. In the meantime, I think this is a short enough text that we will go through the main ideas even without you having a text. But if you just wanted to have it for you, then we can order that from India. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, I'll hang around for any other questions or comments on this. Yeah, Darshana, I think that would be a good idea. Just start listening to it, the chants at home, and at least start getting used to it. My only caution would be that it's very possible that in a couple of spots she may not be very accurate. So I have to do, somewhere. I have to do some research. So Amit, as far as the link to it is concerned, I don't know where it's in YouTube. If you just go to YouTube, what's the name of this lady? I think I knew that. Okay, so there's one common link that I saw. It's called Gaiye Sanskrit. It's an English form of Gaiye of Hindi. Gaiye means please, sing. So it's spelled as G-A-I-E-A. G-A-I-E-A Sanskrit. Gaiye Sanskrit. And if you go there, it has a number of chants, including this one. In fact, this is the first one, Shiva Sankalpa Sukta. So that is the only thing. I don't have the exact mnemonic for it, but if you just say Gaiye Sanskrit or Shiva Sankalpa Sukta, you can just say Shiva Sankalpa Sukta, you should be able to go it. Yeah, I'll send you the link on Satsang WhatsApp group. Okay, that's a good idea. Once I find that out. So that sounds good. We'll do that. Anything else? Okay, Very good. Then I will look forward to continuing these in the next class. Hari Om.